Okay, so we're going to start learning about the Hilchos Tefillah, and you check up on the video if it's going. It's going?
Good. It
looks good? Okay. And
could raise a little bit. Or does this turn it? Oh, yeah, too far.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. So everyone's talking about tefillah, davening, and I think there's a message that is being given that we don't have enough respect for our shuls, for our davening. So therefore Hashem is closing the shuls on us.
Oh.
You know, whether it's the government or the doctors or whatever it is, but there are many shuls that are not being active now, and if we don't have enough covered, have enough honor for davening in general and for a shul, so it gets taken away from us. I know when the Chavetz Chaim was nifter, he was an old man. Was he in the 90s? Was he over 100? We don't know exactly. And
yeah, I heard they closed the yeshiva. The Chavetz Chaim is closed.
You're talking about Yeshiva Chavetz Chaim. Yes, I'm talking about the Chavetz Chaim himself.
Yeah.
And the Chavetz Chaim himself, he was nifter. This is over 85 years ago. And the Rabbi Yerucham said, he was a mashgiach in the Mir Yeshiva in Poland. It was a very well recognized yeshiva. I had a grandfather that actually learned there in the 30s. And the rebirth of Torah in America, as we know it, came after the war from the Mir Yeshiva boys that were saved. That was the only yeshiva that was saved, right? We know that. All the yeshivas were killed out, almost entirely. I mean, there were bits and pieces of certain yeshivas. Yeshiva Chachmei Lublin a little bit, you know, but the Mir Yeshiva basically in its entirety was saved. And that was Torah in America. So he was the mashkiach. He was like, it wasn't the Rosh Hashiva, but he would give like the Musar, and that was Rabbi Yerucham Levavitz, and he actually has grandchildren today in America, in Eretz Yisrael. Very, very well respected person, and he just said that if we would have wanted the Chavetz Chaim, even though he was old, but Hashem took him away because we didn't feel we needed him so much. You know, like we don't really need him. If we really would want him, it wouldn't be taken away. So to a certain extent, we don't feel so much, we need a davening so much, or even going to minyan. We see people were very quick to close the shuls, you know, they're worried. But we don't. The point is, if we would have the proper respect for davening, for shuls, I believe Hashem would have not closed it on us. And you know, it's very nice that tomorrow, now is Wednesday. It's Wednesday. What's the Hebrew date?
Hebrew date.
The Hebrew day, but it's Wednesday, Parashas V'Yakov Pekudei, and tomorrow they're saying that people should fast, people should daven. I mean, it's about time that we took this serious, and you know, like it should be, and we should start davening. But I just wanted to.
Worries me. If you fast, you're weakening your system, and if you come across the
right.
virus, it could be more severe than it should
right,
be.
It's a very good point.
Fasting, I would not do.
Right, Rabbi Saul Salanta actually said by the cholera epidemic that he had in Vilna, he was then a younger person, and he made everyone eat because he wanted them to be strong. But they were saying more towards they're saying to people that are strong, and a lot of people today, it doesn't really affect them so much if they fast a couple of hours. They'll tongue till chatzos. It doesn't really affect you so much, and I don't know if there's a difference if you have a strong immunity or not a strong immunity. To catch the virus, I don't think there's much of a difference, you know, in catching it, you know. I don't know.
It affects so many people in so many different ways, it's hard to tell. So one would hope, or one would think that maybe their immune systems, although differing, do have something to do with how bad it is for them, or how easy it is.
But what I'm thinking is that one point I believe that somehow it slipped by many people is the cover for a shul. And the halacha really is, we're not even talking about it now, but the halacha is really, you're not supposed to talk in a shul, divrei tzchaik, laughter and small talk. You come to a shul, It should be just to davening and for learning, and we should just respect the shuls for what they are, and not busy talking. Hello, how's everything? How's the wife? How's the kids? How's the dog? To somehow across the board we lost that respect.
Yeah, but I don't know if davening is set for say 6:55,
right?
And you and everybody, your friends that you haven't seen in a while, or whoever people see every day, are there at 6:45, and it's 10 minutes till davening. I mean,
right?
Nobody's going to start davening before.
Right. So
we greet everybody, say hi, how you doing? It's good to see you. Welcome to the shul.
Maybe welcoming a foreigner is fine, but I'm just saying the small talk that's not really for a shul. A shul is just it's like a Beis Hamikdash. You go to Beis Hamikdash, you don't say, "Hey, Sally, how you doing?"
But it's also a community center. And
community center
for more than just.
Community center.
More than just a base medrash, more than davening. It's a community center.
No, that's how it is. I agree with you that today it became a community center, but really a shul should not be a community center. A shul should be a place just where we daven. It's a serious place where we learn. The community center could be out, in the hallway, outside.
Okay,
it should
dividing the individual.
Right. Okay. I'm not saying there's no place for a community center in the Jewish life. I'm not saying that, but a shul really shouldn't be for that. A shul should be just for davening, for learning, and you come early. So there's what to say in the siddur. Somehow we skipped that part of the siddur. Maybe that's what Hashem doesn't want. There's so much interesting feelings that we never say. They're talking about we should say every day, especially today. There's a Magefa, when there's a plague going on. We should say Ketores. They're saying say Ketores. I would say all the parashas before the Parshas Atamid, different things that the Kabbanis part. Let's add that in. It's in the siddur. They didn't take it out yet. Let's have the proper respect that our forefathers had. By them, shul was a serious place. It wasn't a place for a community center. It wasn't a place for small talk.
Shuls are smaller. They're more stables than large buildings. I mean,
right.
It's different archaeology today.
Right. I agree, and I agree. The setup is different, but in essence, that may be. We don't know why Hashem is sending this to us, but I think we have to make an introspection always, and I believe maybe focusing on something that Hashem's taking away from us, our davening, and by going ahead and actually having the right respect for shuls, not talking in them, not talking during davening. Someone called me a few weeks ago. He wanted to know he made a Kabbalah. What Kabbalah means, he accepted upon himself not to speak during davening. And his question was, he spoke by Aleinu. Is that considered speaking during davening? And I answered him, yes, it is considered. Even though technically you're allowed to speak. I mean, not.
It's still a Kaddish to be said.
Yeah, it's considered speaking during davening. That's what I'm saying. There's no, in the middle of you're not allowed to talk. It's a clear isser. So this is also considered talking during davening. Besides the issue of speaking of speaking in the shul, and
fortunately for me, at least in Union Hill congregation, I've never come across a case in the years I've been there where people talk during davening.
That's very good. I really want to commend.
But it's a small.
Yeah, Union Hill synagogue is a very special synagogue. I go there quite a few times, it's very, very special. And I guess it has, Rabbi Leiter is the rabbi over there, a very special person, but it has that feel of a shul. You come there, it's to daven. You want to.
All the rooms are small.
You want to schmooze. You want to schmooze. You go outside. Here, this is made to schmooze. Then I'm thinking of another thing also, that people sometimes, I even see it so today. The people are in a rush. By the time Aleinu comes off, the talus is off, the tefillin is off, they're out the door. I mean, they were saying Tillim, they didn't even stay for the Tillim. Like, where they're running, the kids are home. The point is, keep on your talus, keep on your tefillin to the end of davening. And let's not rush it out. I was actually, a couple of years back, I was in an old age home, davening there, and like a nursing home. And I see, and they had a minyan where the people from the nursing home would come, and I see by Aleinu, there's a guy, he's probably 85 years old, and he's running out. Probably for the past 50 years, he was always running. Where's he running? He's running upstairs to the nursing home. Where's he running? But it's so. This was during the week. There was no kiddush. There was no nothing. But just it's in the system. You gotta take off your towels by Ashrei, by Voltzin. It's ready. You're ready to fill it, packed up. You ready to run? Run where? I just got to run. I don't know where I'm running to. So we have to realize.
Maybe to the bathroom. To about 85
No.
years old.
But I believe that there's definitely an element that we all can improve, myself included, having the correct covered for shuls, correct covered for davening, and let all those that could fast tomorrow should fast. Someone that can't shouldn't, but because we have to realize we're in a tzara where there's definitely a shas adin. There's shas adin going on, and certain different laws apply when there's actually it's still going.
Screen went blank.
Still, okay.
So I don't know if it's working or not. Or the condition the battery's in.
Yeah, could be the battery went. Yeah. So now we're going to start the halachas of davening, actually. That we have to daven. The halacha is that we have to face Eretz Yisrael, and we talk about also someone who is riding or on a boat. When you get up to daven, if you're in Chutz La'aretz, we're in Chutz La'aretz. You should turn your face. You should turn your face to Eretz Yisrael.
To the east.
Oh, so you're saying to the east. Here it doesn't.
From here is the east.
If
you're on the other side of the world, you probably face west.
Yeah. So you right, correct. So if you're in Chutz La'aretz, it's an interesting halacha. You face towards Eretz Yisrael, and you have in mind Yerushalayim, Beis HaMikdash, and Beis Kodesh HaKadoshim. So it means you can't face Yerushalayim. You're facing Israel. You're facing that way. But you're not facing Yerushalayim. But what it means is that, says the Mishnah, this means that you should, in your mind, you should imagine as if you're standing in the Beis HaMikdash, in Yerushalayim, in the place of the Kodesh HaKadoshim. That's how a person has to daven. That's what davening was all about. It's not about coming in and saying hello to your friend and how's Sally, how's the dog, right? It's true. It's
I consider the people in my shul as my other family.
Right.
So it's always nice to say hi.
Right.
At least as I'm working my way through to get to my seat.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right, but you have to have the realization that we're in Hashem's house. And,
yes.
It's a serious thing. It's a serious place.
Mm-hmm.
So that's in Chutz La'aretz. So we have to imagine ourselves when we daven. We have to have in mind that as if we're in Yerushalayim, as if we're in Beis HaMikdash, as if we're in Beis Kodesh HaKadoshim, the holiest of holies. Let's say you were actually in Israel. You face Yerushalayim. So wherever you are in Yerushalayim, if you're on the south of Yerushalayim, you face the north. If in the north, you face the south. Wherever you are. So a lot of people in Israel don't have a mizrach.
Really? I would assume when they build the shuls, they build them here on Kodesh.
So they have to build it the right way.
Wall.
You have to build it the right way.
Yeah.
Now again, if you're in Eretz Yisrael, so you face Yerushalayim, and again you have in mind, like we said before, like as if in the Beis HaMikdash, in the Beis Kodesh HaKadosh. If you're actually in Yerushalayim, you have to face the Beis HaMikdash. That's what you're facing. Again, and you imagine as if you are in the Beis Kodesh HaKadoshim. What happens if you wouldn't actually in the Beis HaMikdash? But you were standing in the back of the Kaparis. You face the Kaparis. You face the Holy of Holies. That's the halacha. That's the halacha that we face. We face Israel. From Chutz La'aretz we face Israel, and again we have to imagine as if we're in Yerushalayim, in the Beis HaMikdash, in the Beis Kodesh HaKadoshim. Now, im mispalel l'ruach mishar ruchos. What happens? This is halacha beis. This is tzadital beis. Mispalel l'ruach mishar ruchos. If you're davening any other way. So what does that mean? Why should you be davening a different way? We'll see why you're davening a different way. But if you're davening a different way, for some reason, and you're not actually turned towards the Beis HaMikdash, you should turn your face, just your face, facing Eretz Yisrael, If you're in Chutz, so you should face, just your face, towards Eretz Yisrael. And to Yerushalayim imu b'Eretz Yisrael. And if you're in Yerushalayim, and face Yerushalayim if you're in Eretz Yisrael. Ulamikdash imu b'Yerushalayim, and face the Beis Hamikdash if you're in Yerushalayim. But again, you're facing one way, your body, but for some reason you're facing a different way. But at least your face, you should face towards. And of course, you face towards Eretz Yisrael. And again, like we said, you have a mind. Whatever you have in mind would apply here too. You have in mind as if you were in Beis Hamikdash, in Yerushalayim, Beis Hamikdash, by the Beis Kodesh HaKadoshim. Now, why would you be facing? Why would you be facing a different way? So the Mishnah Berurah says that there's a Gemara that says, "Haroitze lahashir yatzben." Someone who wants to become wealthy should turn to Tzafon, which is the north. The north. That's when you want to become wealthy. You face the north because the Shulchan in the Mishkan in the Beis Hamikdash was on the north side. So you face the north. If you want to become wise, then Yadrim, you should turn to the Darim, which is to the south. So someone who's facing towards the north because he wants to become rich, or he's facing the south because he wants to become wise, but his face should face towards the Beis Hamikdash, towards Eretz Yisrael. Or if you're in Eretz Yisrael, towards Yerushalayim, so far and so forth. So, but there's another case. Let's say you're riding in a car, or Mishnah Berurah says you're riding on a donkey. So you can't be turned. You're going one way. You're going one different way. So then, still, you should turn your face in the car, so to speak. You should turn towards. Like that. If you're in the car driving at it, I'm not saying you're driving the car. You're certainly not. You're a passenger in the car. So you should. So the halacha is here. Interesting. You should face towards Israel. Your face. I guess your body is. You're in a seat. You can't. But at least your face should be turned towards, like you're saying the east. So says the Ramah, "Va'anu shemachzirim paneinu lemizrach." We turn our face to Mizrach, like you were saying. We turn towards the east. Mipnei she'anu yeshim v'marava shel Eretz Yisrael. We're on the west of Eretz Yisrael. He's talking about in Europe. Ramah was in Krakow in Poland. That was to the west of Eretz Yisrael. V'nimsa paneinu Eretz Yisrael. Therefore, our face is facing Eretz Yisrael. He's basically saying that we face the east because we're situated on the west of Eretz Yisrael. Now, this is not such a simple topic, right off the bat, because are we really?
It would be more southwest.
We're on the west, but we're also somewhat to the north.
Yeah, so
that's an issue. That's an issue, serious issue. So
I must say, I've never seen an Aron Kodesh in a corner of a room.
So the halacha is like this. The halacha is that we daven to Mizrach, okay? They leave that, for now. But that's what we daven. We daven to Mizrach. So the minig is, says the Mishnah Berurah, the minig is brought down from Knesset Agdola from early commentaries. But the minig is to make ha'heichel shesefer Torah v'seicha where the Aron HaKodesh is. Where the Aron HaKodesh is, that should be on the eastern wall, because you're davening that way. So therefore, the sefer Torah should be on that side also. That the heichel, the Aron HaKodesh should be on that side also, which is the current minig. We daven Mizrach, the Aron HaKodesh is Mizrach, but it has nothing really to do. The Aron HaKodesh could be on a different side. But that's the minig. The minig is we daven towards Mizrach, and the Sefer Torah is that way also. And what happens if you cannot make the Aaron Kodesh? You can't make it a Mizrach. So where should you put it? So he says Yikva B'Darim. You should put it on the south side. He seems to be saying not the north side. If you have a choice, either to put it on the north side or the south side, you should put it on the south side. I would assume because you want to be wise, right, you turn to the south side. So I guess, the south is more on that line, so that's why we would put the Aron HaKodesh on the south side. Valkolponim, but definitely Loy L'Ma'ariv, do not put the Aron HaKodesh on the west side. Again, you're facing the east side, right? Don't put it on the west side. Because the backs of the people would be facing the Aron HaKodesh. It's not respectful. It's not respectful to have your back to Aron HaKodesh.
Right.
Not respectful. That's a question. When people get up to speak, usually they go by Aron HaKodesh and they turn their back.
Yeah.
So they speak about it. Not a simple thing.
Definitely.
I remember my grandfather, Shiva of Manchester, when he used to speak, they would go and they would kiss the Aron HaKodesh. Why would they kiss the Aron HaKodesh?
To honor it before
Because
speaking.
to show, asking Mechila from the Aron HaKodesh, that they could turn the back to the Aron HaKodesh. He would turn his back to the Aron HaKodesh, but he would kiss first. That's the minute, kissing first the Aron HaKodesh as a sign of, respect, giving you respect, even though I'm turning my back to you, but I'm still respecting you. It's not just, some kind of something to do that. It's because there's really an issue going on of turning your back to the Aron HaKodesh. So if it could be avoided, it definitely should be avoided, not to have the back to the Aron HaKodesh. Let's say you're sitting there by a meal, sometimes they set up in a shul, try not your back should be to the Aron HaKodesh, just let someone else sit there. I'm not saying to make a whole ruckus about it, but just between me and you, don't have your back to the Aron HaKodesh. Not a very good thing. Especially now, we're trying to have more respect for the shuls, for the Torah, for everything. Most definitely, we should be careful on all these halachas. These are very, very important halachas, and I want to say another thing that we have a lot of laws. We have Mishnah Berurah, we have Shulchan Aruch. There's so many pages, so many laws. It's not like we could pick and choose. Mm-hmm. Like we'll do some of them, and some of them will fall to the wayside. There's so many. So we let's say you're driving a car and you're going 75 miles an hour. It's 40 miles per hour. You tell the cop, I do everything right. I just think, I don't do anything wrong. I do everything else right. There is no such thing. Every halacha that's brought down, every law that the government makes, you got to do. Yep. Everything that's said, every little thing we have to do. Sometimes there's l'chatchila, the best way to do it. Not the best way to do it, but we have to be l'chatchila people. Do everything the best way. That's what Hashem wants from us. To do, give it all we got, and every halacha. But this is an obligation. Every Jew is obligated to follow what it says. Right. Sometimes there's different opinions and different minhagim. I'm not getting into that. I'm not saying. We're saying over halacha.
Saying over halacha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was just saying over Menachem that we have so many laws. You can take a seat. Yeah.
Okay for now.
So we have so many halachas, so many laws, so many pages, so many books. Our obligation is to do every one of them. Mm-hmm. We can't say, we'll try this, we'll try that. Some things we'll do something because we want to do something. So too hard, something. We have to do everything what it says. Mm-hmm. Again, sometimes there's minhagim, different customs, not to follow exactly the Mishnah Berurah. Of course. We have a lot of different opinions and different ways of customs, but the point is, whatever the halacha is, and whatever the halacha obligates you That's what you're obligated to do. I want to say over a story. My grandfather, you probably heard of my grandfather. My grandfather was Rabbi Siegel from Manchester. You ever heard of him?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, you heard of my grandfather.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he started the thing of Shmiras Halash, and everyone should learn 2 halachas a day. You know, the saying now that everyone should do it, but it started in yeshiva. He had a few barchim, that's how it started. It started about 40, 50 years ago with a few barchim, that's how things started. You know, that's how it started.
Good idea.
But Reb Chaim Kanievsky actually wrote a letter. He said what's happening is that we see people are being quarantined, not to go here, not to go there, not to have, have friends, to be together with friends. He said the Gemara says that's a punishment by Mitzayra. One of the punishments of Mitzayra is if he is he says Lashon Hara, if he made fights between a man and his wife. So Hashem says, you made separation, so therefore you're going to be a Mitzayra, a leper, and he has to go out and he's really quarantined. He's literally quarantined out of the Machna. So Reb Chaim Kanievsky says that what he feels this coronavirus pandemic is coming from is because that there's Lashon Hara going on. People are making machlokes, and that's I guess he's talking about everyone has a little element of it, and maybe not saying everyone, but there's an element, and that we're not careful enough, and that's why Hashem is making quarantine. So how do we get out of this quarantine? We know we'll get out of this quarantine. Right now everyone's who knows what's going to be. I saw the graphs. They think it's going on for a year, but Hashem, Hashem brings a punishment, and then Hashem takes it away. That's how it works. Hashem brings a punishment, and then Hashem takes away a punishment. Whatever happens, whatever happened in China over there, we don't know who did it. What did it? Was it the Chinese government? We don't know. But one thing we do know: punishment is because of us, because we're not behaving like we should be. That's what it's all about. It's all because of Yisrael. It's all because of the Yid. It is our fault. It is our fault.
And there are a lot of things going on in the land of Israel right now that are just...
a lot of things going on.
Because you have... They're trying to make it more secular. People, American Jews, moving into Israel that are not observant.
Right.
Trying to take over the government.
Right. Very, very serious. So my grandfather told me. I remember I was a young boy, must have been 8, 9 years old, and my grandfather was telling me what is a siman, a sign. You lose something. Every boy knows. Does it have a siman? You find something. You find a watch, a siman, right? A hat. What, a hat is a siman?
No, you look inside to see if there's something inside.
Yeah. Every Jewish child knows about a siman. He knows hefker, and he knows something about called a siman, right? A siman. Now, my grandfather was telling me, what's a siman? I said, a siman. I don't know, a siman. He says, I'll give you an example. He said, imagine me. He said, I'm just an old man. That's what he told me. He said, I'm just a plain old man. He says, do I do anything special? That's what he told me. Do I do anything special? He said, I don't do anything special. I just do what it says in Shulchan Aruch, he told me. I just follow, I'm not special, I just follow the law. So I don't do anything special. That's what he told me. He's telling his grandson. He's saying. So, I'm just a plain old man, he told me. So, it was actually unnecessary for him to tell me that, but that's what kind of person he was. What a special person he was, that he felt that he lived in England. I mean, we lived in the United States, so he hardly saw me, but he wanted to get across to his grandson that he's nothing special, because he knew people made a big deal about him. So he said, "I'm going to tell my grandson that I'm nothing special." But the point I'm trying to bring out that the concept that following Shulchan Aruch is not something for a tzaddik. That's what he was saying. Following Shulchan Aruch, every Yid has to do. That's basic. Basic. You have a sign up to any plan. There's basic, there's premium, there's gold. There's basic. A basic Jew, you got to follow Shulchan Aruch. You got to do whatever it says. Then there's premium. There's people special things they do. Chassidus that that's not obligated. Okay, that's premium. That's gold. That's But basic, we're trying to strive just for the basic Judaism at this point. It's to follow whatever they tell us. And then my grandfather said about what a siman is, that he has a shirt that has a hole. Only he knows that it has a hole, and no one else. And therefore, if he loses a shirt and he says it has a hole, we know it's his. But the point is, what I'm bringing out is the perspective of a Jew has to follow whatever it says. There's no shortcuts. There's no way out. So we were discussing that we were discussing about that if you were to make Aron Kodesh, you make it a Mizrach. Really, you dive into Mizrach, right? Because that's the way to Eretz Yisrael. So we were saying that if you can't make it a Mizrach, you should make it on the south side, but never make it on Meir on the west side, because the people's backs are to the Aron Kodesh, which is something that's really shouldn't have you back to the Aron Kodesh.
You do it based on the rise of the sun. That's why you do south and not north. Rises in the east, veers towards the south, and ends in the west. So that's why you choose south instead
really?
of
Why?
north.
Because of the sun?
Yeah, because
why?
When the sun rises in the east and it goes via south, because we already have to face east anyway. If we can't face east, then we're supposed to face south, because that's the projection of.
Why would we
in the winter months?
No. It never. The sun never moves north. So seemingly, I don't know the reason why. But I was told that because that's how the projection goes, and we're facing that direction anyway, that we should do it in that arc. So if you can't face towards Mizrach, then you should face towards south, because that's the pathway that the sun takes going into the west where we are.
From east to west in the southern sky.
Yes. Yeah, it doesn't hit the northern sky. So I was told, gotta face towards Mizrach, but if you can't, south is better than north. So I don't know why the projection of the sun makes a difference, but that's.
But I think actually it says south. I mentioned it before, but south because you want to become wise, so you face the south.
Interesting.
Because the menorah, was on the south side in Beis Hamikdash. So then there's another halacha. What happens?
See you later, Mark. Take care of yourself.
And if it's less than 412,
So now
you can make it.
So now, if you were standing to Tzafon and Durham, let's say you were standing to the south or the north, and they told you, hey, you're davening the wrong way. Sometimes it happens when you go on a trip, and you're davening mincha, right? You're davening, you find a quiet place, you're davening. You don't know where. Hey, you got davening the wrong way. Or sometimes let's say you're davening in your house, and again, it's the wrong way. It happens. So, are you allowed to turn around?
I would hope so.
So if you're davening to the south or the north, so you can't walk and switch your feet, but you should switch your face to Mizrach. Like we saw over here, right? We said over here, if you're davening a different way, you only you move your face towards Mizrach. So that's the halacha. If you're davening the wrong way, so just move your face to Mizrach. What happens if you can't? Or let's say you're davening to the west,
That's going to be tough to turn.
So you can't turn. So then you don't turn your face. You just have a mind facing that. You have a mind, but to the Beis Kodesh HaKadoshim, as if you're standing by the Kodesh HaKadoshim. Now, what happens if you're in shul and you're davening the wrong way? So the Pri Megadim says, even though we said really shouldn't turn around, daven. But if you're in shul and it's like funny, like you're out of sync, you're davening the wrong way. So the Pri Megadim seems to push forth the notion that you may actually turn. He doesn't say 100%, but he definitely pushes that position that you let it turn, you let it move your body, even though middle of davening, because you're standing in front of Hashem, you don't walk around, but. For the fact that you're in a shul and it doesn't look good, so therefore you could could actually move your feet towards the right way. The Chaim Pasuk b'Sefer Shulchan Shlomo, the different sefers actually says that in shul you may actually turn around. Now, what happens if a shul has the Aron Kodesh on the south side?
Well, you would have to be very far north of Jerusalem to do that.
No, it's the wrong side. It's the wrong side.
And if you were in, Europe, Eastern Europe? certainly would have the Aron HaKodesh on the south wall.
Yeah, but here we're talking about the shul wasn't made right. The Aron Kodesh was on the south side. Really should have been on the Mizrach side. And everyone is davening to the Aron Kodesh. Everyone's davening the wrong way. Everyone's davening towards the Aron Kodesh because that's shul. So what should you do? Should you daven? Should you be the right one? Should you be the oddball out, so to speak, and daven the right way?
They say you shouldn't make division among the people.
They should make division among the people.
So we'd have to continue.
So he says over here that you should daven.
And if you're not supposed to be talking while you're davening, you can't tell anybody else that hey guys, we're all facing the wrong way.
So this thing is in question. So Mishmur says he feels that the correct opinion is that you should daven the same way everyone's davening. You shouldn't maybe get into a fight like you're saying, but your face should be Mizrach. Should face Mizrach. Meaning, you're davening towards the south, but you turn your head towards Mizrach, towards the east. Not so easy,
No, it could be painful after a while.
Yeah, that's what you should do.
We're talking specifically about Shemona Esrei, though, right?
We're talking about Shemona Esrei. This is specifically Shemona Esrei, right? Right. When you the other
Not
davening,
anything leading up to Shemona Esrei is not as
Ashrei,
important.
Shtavach. No, you don't have to face Mizrach. No.
And after Shemona Esrei, not as important.
We're just talking about the actual Amidah, the actual Shemona Esrei. Now. The Ramah says, like I mentioned earlier, that we face east because we're situated on the west. Very interesting halacha. You don't make it the ultimate east. East is very broad.
Oh, yeah.
You don't make it extreme east. That's the way the minim. A min is someone who doesn't believe, the non-believers. We try to be mechaven, we try to follow the middle of the day, which means we don't do 100% east. We do a little bit, a little bit to the south. Emtzayim, Mishmur explains, means like a half an hour after the sun rose. So, of course, like we're saying, we'll do Mizrach, but we should not do extreme Mizrach, extreme east. We should not do. We should do a little bit south.
Unless you're in Argentina, then you should be a little bit north.
So that's the question. If you're it seems like what he's saying is that even if east is really the way to go, meaning that's the way to Eretz Yisrael, but still you shouldn't do extreme east. The ultimate east. It should be a little bit like southeast, a little bit southeast.
Well, at least from this area, yeah. North America, for example.
Yeah, no, it could be anyways you need to do it.
But even South America?
But what he's saying is even if Eretz Yisrael is really to the east, you should not daven to the east because it's like it's following the custom of the minim, of the non-believers. So it's an interesting concept because really we want to daven to Eretz Yisrael, but we have a problem that we don't want to mimic what the minim are doing.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to do it a little bit off. You got a little off.
A couple of degrees off.
A couple of degrees off, right? He says like a half an hour after the sun rose. Mm-hmm. Now, the Levush that says that we're not really 100% east.
It's true.
I mean, we're not 100% west, so therefore the davening really shouldn't be 100% east. Mm-hmm. So it could be where the Beis Yosef was. The Arab lands, maybe it's low, right? It's lower than Poland. Maybe it is opposite Eretz Yisrael. But we that are in Europe, he's talking about in Europe. He says over there, the Levush says really have to daven a little bit. You gotta daven a little bit to to the south. To the south. Because...
This kind of brings up something that I had a question about.
Yeah.
I went to a minyan at someone's house. It was a mourner's house. We said Mincha Marav over there. And somebody took out their compass and said, that's east. And it was actually to the corner of the building. So everybody faced the corner of the building because that was due east.
Right.
Now, I got to tell you that these were mostly people from a conservative shul, reconstructionist shul, which is same as, But the fact that they wanted to face directly to the east, they said right to the corner of the building, and that's the way everybody stood. It is like what you said, non-believers. And when you have these, non-Orthodox people. I'm not. I wasn't raised Orthodox. I'm learning to become.
No, I want to say
conservative.
Everyone, someone wanted to know if someone was an FFP or a BT. Someone asked me about someone last week. So I wrote him back. I said, everyone is a FFP. Everyone is from birth. When a baby is born, he's from. It's only when they get older they start veering off. But every Jewish child is born from. There's no such thing as born about Shul. Everyone is born from. Hey, like that.
I like that. I like that a lot.
We can't look ourselves in the mirror and say, "Oh, I'm a BT. I'm about Shuvah. I'm not good. I'm no good. I'm second rate." No, we're all born from, and we all have our challenges, and that's how we have to look at it. And we can't, like I was saying before, we have to do whatever it says. There's no shortcuts,
Right.
So that's.
That's why I go to as many classes that I possibly can.
Right.
So I learn with Alan Mondays and Thursdays. Rabbi Leiter on Wednesday nights. Unfortunately, that's closed to me. So I try to come here every Wednesday night that I can come here.
Right. The harder something is to do, the more mitzvahs you get.
That's what they say. They say the more difficult it is, the more you get. So that's my situation anyway. But I think it was interesting what you said, that if you're facing directly to the east, that you're a non-believer. And that brings me right back again to the non-Orthodox communities that are Reform or what have you, that they've thrown away halacha, they've thrown away the Mishnah, they've thrown away, almost every writing based on the Torah. That I don't know how they live. The secular world is confusing to me. It's becoming more and more so.
It's full of stira. It's full of what the stira means, like things that don't work out. There's so many questions. It doesn't figure. It doesn't figure.
Yeah, how do they justify the things that they do? Because they can, at the blow of a wind, they can completely reverse whatever they were previously doing because, that doesn't apply anymore. Right. Why? Who said? There's no writing, so they have nothing to refer to.
There was a conservative rabbi once gave me a ride. It was from a funeral when I was in Paris in Yeshiva. It was a funeral of someone that lived there, so I went to the funeral and I got a ride back with a conservative rabbi. So he told me that your type of Judaism is going to survive, not mine. That's what he told me.
He was right. I believe that too.
But he said, but I don't know if it's the right one to survive. Now I was younger than him. I was a bacher. I was young. I was 20. He was an old, 40, 50. I wasn't going to say anything against him. I just listened. I didn't say anything. But I was thinking that the whole reason the conservative movement came about was that they said
they rejected the Reform movement.
No, but the point was
they wanted to be more Orthodox.
Right, I understand that, but they felt that Orthodoxy is not something that could survive. That was the whole point of the Reform movement, right? The Reform movement was we got to reform it because it's not working, right? You reform something when it's not working. The Reform movement felt that it's too old, all these laws, it's Shabbos, what's going on here, So that was the Reform. Then the conservative was also based on that phenomenon that we need Judaism to survive. And here this conservative rabbi is telling me that his Judaism is not going to survive. Mine will. I mean, so that takes away the whole argument of the whole movement.
But you see it everywhere. Every shul that was conservative has, in one way or another, moved back towards reform. You know,
really?
I mean, a cantor that might be a female, for example,
right?
Or the moving reconstructions. They can't get a minyan, so now they want women to be counted as part of the minyan.
Right.
These are all reform thoughts. The reform have always been doing.
Right.
But now they're going back in that direction.
They're going the
wrong way.
Conservatives going back in that direction. Are there any conservative places that are coming more to the right, coming back?
Not that I've seen.
No?
In order for them to survive, and like the rabbi said, he doesn't think his version is going to survive. And he's right, because you see it happening. My uncle was a big shot in the Temple of Shalom in Sayreville.
Yeah.
It's a daycare center.
Daycare.
In South River, where Rabbi, what's his name? I can't remember his name. But again, now it's a daycare center. It didn't survive.
That's not surviving.
The rabbi there, I can't even remember his name. What's the Jewish comedian's name? The guy that speaks fast.
Jackie Mason.
Mason, right. Yosef Meza was the rabbi for 49 years over in South River. The congregation decided they were losing membership, so they thought maybe it was the fact that we have an older rabbi. They wanted a younger rabbi, so they discharged him after 49 years. They wouldn't celebrate his 50th year. They had to do this on a rush basis, which was ridiculous. And then within another year, the congregation folded anyway.
But there is nothing to do with the rabbi. Hill Shul it says Meza. It has
yeah, it's named after him.
It's named after him.
And his son was rabbi there for a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That was at the beginning, a long time ago. But yeah, it's the truth. I mean,
so
if you can't walk the walk, don't talk the talk, right? I mean, there's one path.
One path, yeah.
One path, and you can't diverge from that path because you're leaving Judaism. You take the alternate path.
You know, to a certain extent, it's better to deny something than to falsify something. Rabbi Leibowitz, I'm not sure if you heard of him, but he was before the war. He actually died in 1940. He was considered like one of the leaders. He was a phenomenal person. He was a student of Chaim Soloveitchik, you heard of?
Oh, yes.
Yes, he was one of his big disciples, and he very, very, very special person. His great-grandson actually was my brother-in-law. Unfortunately, he was nifted a couple of years ago, just like that. But very, very special, very, very special people. And so, what he said was, he said we know by Eliyahu, Elijah, when he came to the Har Carmel, he told the people that because they were serving the Baal, which was the idols, and they were also serving Hashem. So he told them, until when you're on both sides. I see you jumping from on both sides. He says, if you with Hashem, go with Hashem. If with the Baal, go to the Baal. So Rabbi asked, I mean, what, it's better to be just a Baal than to be... Isn't it better to be partly Hashem? Like, what was he telling them?
But you can't be partly Hashem. You're either Hashem or you're not Hashem, period.
Okay, so you're saying...
Because right away you're violating,
right.
the so-called first commandment. I mean, one. God.
So Rabbi said like on your lines, he said that as long as they were on both sides of the, they were everywhere, right?
They were nowhere.
So they were falsifying Yiddishkeit. They were saying you could be a Jew and you could serve the idols also. That's falsifying.
Wasn't that proved at Mount Sinai that doesn't work?
That doesn't work. But if they would just serve the Baal, they're denying Hashem. It's better to deny something than to falsify something. That's what Baruch said. Better to deny it.
I would agree.
Falsifying is even worse. Taking our thing and changing it and saying, no, this is how it's supposed to be. That's even worse than just denying it. Just, you just don't agree. That's one thing. It's not a good thing, a very bad thing, but it's even worse to falsify something.
To be not sincere, to not...
Right.
Not there. Yep.
You want to go now? Or
I'm here as long as you are. As long as you're willing to keep teaching, I'm here to keep learning.
So that's what we're here for. We're here to study the laws, and to become closer to Hashem. That's our focus. So I'll say further. The Lechem Chamudais says it was a different sefer. Even though we said really we should daven not all the way in Europe, they shouldn't daven all the way to the east because it's a little off. But Lechem Chamudais says the minig seemed to be not like that. The minig was to daven to the east. And even though it was a little off, it was good enough, Okay. But it seems like he agreed also, the best thing really is to daven the correct way, like the Levush, really to daven towards Israel, not just towards the east. Again, east shouldn't be east totally, like we said before. A little off, a little, but the point was, the Levush was saying, you really not daven the right way. So everyone agrees really, they really should daven towards Israel. That's the really, because listen, we are the real Zionists. Everyone talks about Zionism. Are we a Zionist? Not a Zionist. Rabbi Gifter said, we are the real Zionists. We daven 3 times a day. Let us return to Zion. So we're the real Zionists. We don't want people to come to Israel, like you're saying, and make the land into a country like any nation. That's what we don't want. But of course, we're for Eretz Yisrael. We want it to be a holy land, right? People come in there to come in there and the Paltim Shel Melech, meaning in the palace of Hashem, and do Averis. That's a terrible thing. It's a very terrible thing. So what happens? You come to a shul, and they're davening east, but really, the true Eretz Yisrael is a little off. It's really a little south. See, so what he says is, this is what the Mishnah Berurah brings down, that you should really face towards Israel. Meaning, your body, like we had before, your body is one way, you face another way. The shul is to the south. Your body should be to the south, but you should face towards Eretz Yisrael. So again, if the shul is really to the east, and really you know that Eretz Yisrael is really, it's a little off. So your face should face towards Eretz Yisrael, but your body should be facing like everyone else. That's the correct thing to do. So it's not so simple. You think you come to shul, you daven Mizrach, not a simple thing. Maybe you should daven towards the east, to where everyone's davening. Maybe they're a little off, so you should daven a little different. But it's not. It's very definitive. It's complicated. It's not a simple thing.
Have you ever been to a shul that was considered to be like in the round?
Oh, there is such a thing?
Yeah, I've seen them. Not necessarily round, but round-ish. They'll have the ark will be still.
I mean, the seats are round.
Sort of
round
around the bima. Around the bima. But of course, the Aron HaKodesh is on the wall.
Right.
But when they take the Torah out of the Aron HaKodesh, they put it on the bima. It's sort of in the round. So when you facing east-ish, there's only so many seats that face east. There's some that face north. There's some that face south. And when you're sitting to pray, well, of course, it's not the Shemona Esrei, but when you're sitting to pray, you're facing the wrong way. But when you stand, you turn your body and you face the proper way.
Are you talking about, was it a religious shul or it wasn't such a religious?
I thought this was a conservative shul.
Yeah, right. So they weren't so, okay, again, maybe when they stood up. But
I've also modern Orthodox, I've seen that also.
Right.
Modern Orthodoxy, which is, I still have to learn more about what is modern Orthodoxy.
Right, yeah. So it's, the best thing is, when you have a shul, that the seats, like a shul how it's supposed to be, is that the seats are faced the way you daven. Which is the correct way, which really should be not 100% east. It should be really facing Israel. Okay, but. So now, what happens if you're in a shul that's really east? So really, you should daven a little bit to the south, but you're on the south of the shul. So if you're going to face the south, if you're going to face a little bit south, your face is going to be away from the Aron Kodesh, right? You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that. If you again, if the shul is facing to the east, and really Israel is a little bit to the south, and you're in the south of the shul, if you're going to face the south also, so you can be facing away from the Aron Kodesh. We want to have covered for Aron Kodesh. We can't forget, we have to juggle all the issues. We have Eretz Yisrael on one side, but we have the Torah here. Maybe that's a remez that, sometimes we have Zionistic impulses. We want to go towards, we want to do something Zionistic, but hey, it's against the Torah. We have to respect the Torah first. Maybe that's the mushal over here. You have the Aron Kodesh. You can't turn away from the Aron Kodesh. We have the Torah. We can't veer from the Torah. So even if you're not facing Israel all the way, you're just facing east, which is a little off. But make sure you don't use
the building would have to be pretty perfectly built for that wall to be due east, and you just don't see that all that often.
Building a shul is a very big responsibility. How to build it, Now, places that Prima Gana says, where does the rabbi sit? Where does the rabbi sit? He sits on Mizrach, but which side of the Aron Kodesh? So says the Prima Gana, very interesting. It says like this: places that make the shul facing really east, pure east. So really, the Rav. This is what he says. He says that we put the Rav on the north side. Listen to what he says. In order that he should be able to turn, towards the south side, and he'll be facing the Aron Kodesh. If the rabbi is sitting on the left side of the Aron Kodesh, right, which is
his left. As opposed
to his right. His right is facing the Aron. His right is the Aron Kodesh, but he's to the left of the Aron Kodesh, right? Like moshels are like that. The rabbi is on the left side.
Well, facing the Aron Kodesh.
Facing the Aron Kodesh is on the left side, right? And on Union Hill, I think the rabbi is on the left side, correct? Maybe I'm not sure.
If I'm facing,
you're facing the Aron Kodesh. Where's the rabbi?
The rabbi is on the right side.
On the right side?
His left, yeah.
Oh, on the right. Oh, okay. So he's saying over here. He's saying the rabbi should be on the left side, on the north side. Why? Because when he davens, really a rabbi should want to be wise. So he should face a little bit. The Mishnah is going to say, like we mentioned before, he should be facing the south. So if he's on the north side of the shul, and so when he could be facing the south, he'll be facing the Aron Kodesh. That's correct. But if he'll be,
but during Shemona Esrei, he faces the same way everybody else does. He gets up off his chair, he turns around.
No, but I guess his face should be towards the south.
Well, for him to be on that side, that would make that easier.
If it would be on the south, on the right side of the Aron Kodesh, he'll be turning his face away from the Aron Kodesh, which is a no-no.
Yeah,
so that's why we put the rabbi on the. If you're facing the Aron Kodesh, you put him on the left side.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's in the shuls where it's really east.
Due east.
Now, what happens if the shul is like the Lavush, which means that it's really a little bit to the south already? So then he says, if the rabbi is davening straight, he's also davening to the south, which is also right. He's davening to the south, which will make him wise, right? So then he says it's better to put him on the right side. Put him on the right side. So maybe Union Hill, maybe it's a little bit.
I got to go in there with a compass and check it.
Yeah, check it out. Check it out. How the shul is? Is it really perfectly north? Then the rabbi really should be on the left side. Mm-hmm. But if the shul really is facing towards Israel, so then you put the rabbi on the right side. But he says, but if there's a machlekes, people, these things are important to people where the rabbi should sit. The president's going to say, well, the rabbi is supposed to go on this side, and the vice president's going to say on that side. Don't make a machlekes out of it. It's not worth it. It's important. It's important where to sit. But it's even more important not to make a fight. It's even more important. And actually, this past Matzah Shabbos, there was someone that he had yard site this week, and he was davening for Amr on Motzei Shabbos. The meaning is by some people that the Motzei Shabbos of the yard site they daven for Amr. I'm not sure if you ever heard that minhag. There's such a minhag. It comes in someone running late. He was actually the person that came running in was a chiv, meaning his father passed away a couple of months ago. And he just knocked him out. He said, chiv, and he knocked him out. and like after the time, I went over to the person that got knocked out, and I said, like it wasn't really so right. I said, you live here. This person was really an outsider. So they were saying that, not making machlok is even a bigger ilun neshama for his father, for this person's father. That's even bigger. It's important. Davening for them, these things are important, but it's even more important. It's even more important not to make a fight. And it reminds me that I believe was in Slobodka. I believe Rav Ruderman. He got a letter that his father, Rabbi's mother, was nifter.
Oh my!
But the letter never came to him.
Oh.
The letter came to the yeshiva. The auto von Slobodka. Then it wasn't just, he took care of you. It was like the auto von Slobodka. He was like your father and your mother and everything else. Also, that's what they looked up to. I don't know if he was actually Rosh Hashiva. Like he was something like Baruch, a similar thing. Like he was like an older person. He was the guiding light, but he wasn't the Rosh Hashiva. I don't believe he was the Rosh Hashiva. So he said he didn't show the letter. He didn't show the letter to the son. But they told him. But he has to say Kaddish. So technically, there's no. If he doesn't know, he doesn't say Kaddish. It's not like he's not doing halacha because he just doesn't know. But the point was, what's the whole issue of Kaddish? That he should bring ilun neshama, that should bring grace to the neshama. The biggest thing for Rabbi Ruderman's father's neshama, mother's neshama was that he doesn't know about it, and he's studying and he's becoming the great Rashiva that he became. He was worried that if he he's a young boy, and if he knows that his father, it will throw him off. So he felt it's better not to tell him. I guess he told him later, at a later point, told him. But he felt it was better, more ilun neshama. It's better for the neshama not to tell him, and let him learn like everyone else, and because the focus is that should be a nachas ruach, and just because you're not doing the protocol of either davening for or saying the kaddish. But we have to look at the broader sense, and that was definitely ilun neshama what the Alta of Slobodka did.
Interesting, very interesting.
I just want to say something. My son, but this is like a week and a half or so, and we have a pshatel, and hopefully we'll be able to say the pshatel, But hopefully we're not quarantined. Who knows what? But I just wanted to say a little bit over a very interesting concept, because now is the time. Now again we're in Eis Tzara, we have a Tzara going on, but we know we're going to get out of it, and we hope that we'll be able to bring the current Pesach this year. Hashem gives a Tzara, and then we get a Yeshua. It says ilu. Ilun falti, kina falti kamti. Because I fell, that's why I got up. The notion is the reason why we got up is because we fall. Sometimes we're not roy. We don't have the schusim. We don't have the merits to go up. So Hashem has to give us a little push down, and then we get up. So the tzara should be a way of that Mashiach should come, and we should have the Beis Hamikdash. And we're thinking about. We're learning about the Beis Hamikdash now. So the halacha is that a father. So that's why we're talking about the current Pesach, because Mitzvah will be meaning current Pesach this year. So there's a mitzvah of a father to circumcise his son. And we know 8 days old, circumcise his son. You get a mile. You don't do it yourself because you don't know how, and you have a mitzvah. But there's another halacha that if your son does not bring is not circumcised, you cannot bring the current Pesach. In other words, not only you have an obligation to actually circumcise him. But if you don't do it, you can't bring a Korban Pesach. That's a pasuk. Pasuk says, you have to all the your children, all the males, you have to circumcise, and then you can bring the Korban Pesach. That's a pasuk. So the question was, what is that second halacha of not being able to bring the Korban Pesach? Is it because you had an obligation to circumcise? Like we said, everyone has an obligation to circumcise his son. Because he was negligent on his obligation, is that why he can't bring the Korban Pesach? Or no? Two things. One thing is he has an obligation to circumcise his son, but it's an unrelated issue that if you don't circumcise your son, you can't bring a Korban Pesach. It's not based on the obligation to circumcise your son. That's the question.
Well, you do have the fast of the firstborn son for Pesach.
You do have to circumcise it. Yeah. But the question is that based on the general obligation to circumcise your son? Or no? Even if technically you would not be obligated to circumcise your son. But you won't when you bring a Korban Pesach, all your male children have to be circumcised. Because you're obligated to circumcise. That's a prerequisite for
everything.
For bringing a Korban Pesach, yeah, your son has to be circumcised. Not because you have an obligation to do it. Question.
That's the covenant.
Which way do you think? Is it because of the obligation, or is it not because of the obligation? Or it's not based on the obligation that he has prior?
I have to think it's the obligation.
You think it's the obligation?
I have to think so, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you.
I'm wrong, of course.
No, you're not wrong. No, you're not wrong. Not wrong. The Shagas Aryeh. The Shagas Aryeh says the meaning is that by mitzvah bachrim, when they say the Russia, they say a Shagas Aryeh. Shagas Aryeh was someone that he learned to the ultimate extreme. He was a great Talmid Chacham, and we want our children to also learn, in such a way, So that's the meaning. Most people, the son says the Shagas Aryeh. That's why we're saying the Shagas Aryeh. But I think even without this, we would say the Shagas Aryeh because it's so good. He says like this. The Rambam says, listen to this. That just like if you don't circumcise your slaves, you cannot bring Korban Pesach. So too, if you have maidservants that need tefillah, meaning when you buy a maidservant from a guy, so then she's a guy, right? She's not Jewish. So, in order for her to have the status of a quasi Jew or an Eved Kanani, right? They need tefillah. They have to go to the mikveh like a ger. A guy becomes a yid, he goes to the mikveh. So even to become Eved Kanani, a Shivcha Kananis, they also have to go to the mikveh, and they get an elevated status. They get an elevated status of being a Shivcha, Eved Kanani, Shivcha Kananis. I mean, if they would want to become a Jew afterwards, a total Jew, they would also go get to the mikveh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Even more. But now, the Rambam says, it's not a Gemara, but it's a Rambam. Rambam says that if a person bought maidservants and they didn't go to the mikveh, they never became Jewish, so he cannot be in Korban Pesach. That's what the Rambam says. Rambam in Parakel Minchas Korban Pesach. So the question is, says the Shagas Aryeh, there's no obligation to immerse your maidservants. I mean, no obligation. He says, it may be, he's not even sure, it may be that you're not allowed to keep them. You're not allowed to keep them if they stay going, maybe you're not allowed to keep them. But there's no obligation, you're not obligated to actually toivel them. Right. Now, the Rambam says the obligation to toivel them is similar, is as circumcising avadim. So what you see from over here is it's not based on any obligation. It's not an obligation. It's not an obligation to toivel yeshivcha. So so why is it that you can't bring Korban Pesach? Says the Shagas Aryeh. You see from over here that the reason why you cannot be in Korban Pesach is not because you're obligated to circumcise your son and you're negligent. It's halacha on its own 2 feet that part of the prerequisite of bringing Korban Pesach is that all people in your house have to be circumcised. So even and the Rabbi says that tefillah by shivchis has the same status. So you have to make sure all your non-Jewish maidservants have to go to the mikveh, and then they become shevach kedanis. But it's not based on any obligation. That's what the Shaggis Arya says.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then there's also a Masha. Masha also says such a notion. The Gemara says, interesting Gemara. The Gemara says that not only if you have children or avadim, or slaves that are not circumcised, you can't bring a Korban Pesach. You can't also eat the Korban Pesach. Both things. You can't bring the Korban Pesach, and you can't eat the Korban Pesach. The Gemara says, if you can't bring it, you can't. It's the way they explain it, because it's going to become puzzle. The Korban Pesach won't be valid. So what do I need a second halacha that you can't eat the Korban Pesach? Point is, because the mother and father, he says, the Gemara says, was in jail. But at the time of bringing the Korban Pesach. So therefore, because they couldn't actually circumcise, so that didn't stop them from bringing the Korban Pesach. They would let her bring the Korban Pesach. Now, what happened was, when they came to eat the Korban Pesach, they were freed. Okay, now they were freed. Now they have an obligation. Now they have an obligation to circumcise their son. Okay, so now they can't eat the Korban Pesach. So that's what the Gemara says. Rabbi says that. Question is, the Gemara says the father and mother were in jail. We all know only a father is obligated to circumcise the child.
Right.
Not a mother. A mother's not obligated. So why does the Gemara say that both the father and the mother were in jail? So Rashi says that the father and mother are obligated to circumcise the child. So Masha says, what does that mean? She's not obligated. So he says, she's really not obligated. But she cannot bring the Korban Pesach if she has a child in her domain that's not circumcised. So again, he's saying it's not based on any obligation. Not because she's obligated. She's not obligated to circumcise the son. It's his business. It's his law. So whatever, it's his achrayus. It's his liability. But when it comes to bringing Korban Pesach, she cannot bring Korban Pesach till she actually circumcises, because it's not based on any obligation. This is part of what my son plans to say, but it's not so simple. I'm just giving you one side of the coin, which I think you understood. You believe it was the other way around, right? It's not because of the obligation. Because of the obligation.
But again, it depends on whose head the obligation falls. Like you said, the husband, not the wife.
Right. Right. So according to how you are saying, you would actually be saying that no, that only the father cannot bring the Korban Pesach, but the mother, according to the way your position would be, that could actually bring the Korban Pesach even though her son is not circumcised. And there is such an opinion. Others that say this notion. And why does the Gemara say the father and mother was in jail? It just means the father was in jail. The main thing is the father was in jail. It just uses the father and the mother to be in jail as just to make an example. But the point really is the father was in jail. Now I just want to have a question. One question of what's this thing of father being in jail? I mean, we all know when you have to circumcise your son, you hire someone.
Yeah.
So what's the big deal? He's in jail. Why can't he hire someone? What's going on here? He's in jail, so he can't circumcise his son. Send the shliach. Send the shliach. What's going on in the Gemara? And I believe the Gemara, Rashi explains, he sent the shliach for the Korban Pesach, right? Korban Pesach was brought. See, he's making people doing things for him. So why can't he just make another phone call and get him mile to do it? Like, what's going on? He's in jail. Can't be. I'm asking questions. So it could be. I don't really have an answer, but there's a question if the obligation to Mila is an obligation on the father to actually do it. It could be it's your personal obligation, and you're not and therefore you're not allowed to make really a shliach. If you could do it yourself, you could do a mitzvah yourself. You can't really send anyone else. So it could be it's really even more than that. It's not. It's something you can't really send. Maybe it's something you can't even send a shliach for. It's something that you have to do with your own two hands. It's like a tefillin. Tefillin, you have to put a tefillin on your hands. Maybe the mitzvah to mal yisam is your mitzvah. It's your mitzvah. You have to circumcise him. If you can't do it, you can't do it. But the obligation really is for you to do it. So maybe if you're in jail, so that's it. You can't do the mitzvah. So, but there is no element. Basically, there's no element maybe of sending a shliach, because it's made like a mitzvah shabegufa. There is such an element. I believe the Shach in Shulchan Aruch says takes such a position. It brings down this notion that the mitzvah of milah on your son is it's your personal mitzvah that you have to actually do. Like your tefillin, it's your mitzvah to mal, and therefore in jail you can't do anything. So that's maybe Shalom Gemara why if he was in jail he couldn't have circumcised his son. Okay.
That works for me. It's a good explanation, I think.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.